I'm super excited to introduce to you all today Ricky. Those who follow me online or subscribe to my channel, you probably have seen him in the previous or last week's episode where he narrated the beginning story. He is family, he's an extraordinary husband and father to 5 beautiful kids, and he actually served over 2 decades in the US Marine Corps and just recently joined the private sector. In fact, he joined the tech sector. I like to take some credit for it because I'm in the tech sector, but Ricky, tell us, why did you join the tech sector?
Well, thanks for having me here, Dave, and speaking so nicely of me. But I think while serving in the military, one common theme is being able to help people. And whether that's helping people by providing the ability for folks to have infrastructure or just access to things that are very needed to improve quality of life. I think technology does the same thing for everyone, and so the common theme is just helping people. And so the tech field seemed to be like a natural transition for me, based on like what my driving interest was.
For people who may have never served in, the military or other branches of the government, I think there's sometimes a lot of these things where people hear, let's say, that the transition can be very hard, but I assume there's also things that you have learned during your 20 years in the Marine Corps that kind of like were things that you now can actually apply in your new job. So what would you say is one of those things that you feel like your time serving has prepared you for the role you have now?
Yeah, no, the military has a tremendous amount of things that they instill in you, especially the longer that you stay in the cloth, wearing the uniform. But with my particular job that I do now in the recruiting world, I think that being able to deal with adversity and being able to have a lot of perseverance and strong work ethic are just some of the things that the military really instilled in me that allows me to succeed anytime I set my sights on anything.
And so to me, you have an extremely impressive career through the 20 years of service, basically most of your grown-up life, and then now into the private sector. And so if Hollywood ever would decide to make a movie about you, who do you feel would have what is needed to play the role of you?
Yeah, I definitely like to be methodical. So I think a good person that would kind of represent me in how I perceive myself would be somebody maybe like Andy Garcia. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Ocean's 11s and 12s movies. I think that he's kind of like the very calculated mastermind, and so I think I can align with that a lot.
With all the learnings you had, if you were able to teach a public class, somebody would say, hey Ricky, we're going to do the whole production, we're going to distribute it worldwide, you choose the topic. What would that topic be that you would like to teach?
Well, it definitely would obviously have to be something that I'm very, very comfortable with, and something that I wholeheartedly believe in. And I think for me, a subject that would be important for me to give to the world if I had such a platform, it would probably be communications. Having communication skills and being able to deliver the right messaging in whatever setting you might be. I think that would be important enough for me.
That makes a lot of sense. And now, as a follow-up question to this, I mentioned you work in the tech sector.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You mentioned you're a recruiter, and you are currently recruiting for Amazon, specifically software development and TPMs, technical program manager. If somebody who's watching this would like, hey, I want to go in the tech sector, maybe even to Amazon, what would be a tip that you would give to those people out there that are looking to have a career in that area?
Well, I think if you want to have a career in that area, then I imagine you're probably either in college or just recently graduated, or maybe done some kind of boot camp coding course. I think my advice for an entry level person would be to have as many projects as you can, and take any kind of internships that may be given to you, and any kind of like entry level work. Maybe not so much in like a big company like the ones that we work at or Amazon, but building a little bit of those skill sets with object oriented languages, and putting those skills to great use, and then transitioning over to one of our entry-level roles. And there's things that all of our companies have with college transition programs. Once you graduate from college, if you want to get into an internship with the organization, you can also take advantage of that. And then for folks that have a bit more of experience, it's just a matter of really kind of reaching out and letting somebody like myself assist you through the whole process from start to finish.
But it's like, if I heard that right, it's like important to build up that experience. So if you were like in a boot class, or you just have the theoretically, it's important to have internship or just things where you actually apply that theoretical knowledge, that by the time I talk to recruiter, that I have kind of like not just theoretical but also applied know-how.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What was one piece of wisdom that kind of like somebody gave you that stuck with you through all the way to now?
Yeah, I think I think being able to listening to understand folks rather than to respond to people is by far has been one of the most important skill sets and advice that has been given to me, and I would share with others. I think when you differentiate the differences, you tend to be somebody who pauses and then make sure that the right response is given to the other party.
Now, one, let's say, more entertaining question to get a bit back to the fun. I was serious about learnings, tips, and trick. If a sandwich were to be named after you, what would be the ingredients of that sandwich?
Yeah, I definitely have to say it would have to be, very, very spicy. Just because I consider myself somebody who brings some kind of spice to any interaction that I have, whether it may be a serious interaction or a more humorous one. So definitely, I would need something very, very spiced and even spicy, and then maybe have some venison as a main protein out of the deal.
That sounds like a great sandwich idea. It seems like there might be even a market for this now. Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. What I do like to add is, I'm a big fan of yours, and I would hire you to do my job. I know you don't have the same technical background, but I think like in the beginning when you talked about that persistence, never giving up that you have learned, I have seen that firsthand you apply to anything. And so I know, I'm like convinced anybody could teach you anything unless they're a really bad teacher, but it's not going to lack your willingness to learn it. And so for those of you who watch, if you really want to learn some real great wisdom for a great person, feel free to reach out to him on LinkedIn. If you are looking for working as a software developer or technical program manager at Amazon, look him up on LinkedIn, reach out, he will respond. And he does a great job bringing candidates through. He has been very successful in the Marine Corps, great career. He's very successful already working as a recruiter, so totally recommend you reaching out. For all those who think like, what? If I'm talking that highly of him and you think you have a great opportunity for him, I'm just saying, hint, hint, if he were to work for Microsoft, I wouldn't mind, as currently he recruits for Amazon. So in that case, also feel free to reach out to him. And with that, Ricky, again, thanks very much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And with that, D. Dave Kurt out.